Hey, how are
Can you
you?
hear me?
I'm doing great. Yeah, and I hear you just fine too.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. All right. How's your night going? We had a little bit of a glitch, so we're back on and we're rolling.
All right, well, we're not too late, so I guess that's all good.
It is good. So I was just telling the audience that this session has been going phenomenal. We're on session number 4. So it's a 6-week session that I'm doing for my followers. And I always get all these DMs about dating because I guess I was on a dating show and I'm supposed to be an expert, but I'm not the expert. So I asked the best that I absolutely know is out there to join me. And you definitely are one of them. You are known as the relationship coach without the fluff. And I don't say that. I say he is the relationship coach without the BS, period. And every time I see what you put out there, I'm like, that man knows. I'm like, it's boom, it's the bomb. It's like he's dropping the bombs. He knows exactly what he's saying. So let's get started. We talked about what we were going to talk about and what we were going to discuss. And I think one of the big ones is how soon is intimacy? We haven't talked about that in this series, intimacy in dating. But I do, before I ask you your perspective on this, because I know you got some great perspective on this, I just want to clarify, and you tell me if I'm right. Intimacy, and so here it is. Okay. Many refer to being intimate as what they're really referring to as sex. And for many people, the word intimacy is synonymous with sex. So often the term intimate is used in a purely sexual context, but sex is a physical act and intimacy is emotional. What do you think of that?
Well, I also think that, beyond just whether or not it's sex, I think that sex also entails, a few different acts, right? Are we strictly talking about like the act of, penetration, or are there other activities that we can classify in that same category? Right. So that's a great question that you ask is what does that really mean to you? One, what is intimacy to you? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you categorize that? Because I think that you're right. A lot of people, when they hear that question, like how soon is too soon before you engage in physical intimacy, they're specifically thinking about the act of sex and sometimes even more specifically about penetration. And I think that the reason why we kind of play with the term a little bit is
Mm-hmm.
to kind of justify what we're doing. Like, well, I didn't really have sex with him. Well, I didn't really go all the way,
Yeah.
because that's too soon for that. But we still, I hear that all the time, from my clients. We just fooled around. We just, so it wasn't really anything serious. It wasn't anything too intimate. We just fooled around. So I
Mm-hmm.
think what's important is to take, is to understand, and kind of, I want to get to that, but like understand why are you engaging and not engaging in certain activities, right?
Okay.
I love the fact that you always comment on the beard. Thank you. She's awesome.
I know. I'm looking at. There's a little flirting going on there with you. I know he looks so cute with his beard. Very handsome.
Right. So hopefully that kind of answers your question. And I don't want to like give it up too. I know that you kind of had an idea of like how you want this to kind of go.
Oh
So I don't
no,
want
we're
to
gonna
like
go with
just
your flow. You're my guest. We're going
right.
with your flow completely.
Well, let me ask you, and let me ask everybody who's watching. Let's start
Yeah.
with doing that. Like,
Yeah.
what what's your time frame? Is there like a rule of thumb that you, as you go out and about and you date, and you can answer this specifically, and everybody else watching this can answer this as well, and we kind of compare notes a little bit. Like, what's a rule of thumb? What are you waiting for? How long? Is it whatever, whenever it happens? Is it maybe like, hey, if it happens on the first date, great? Is it, do you have like a 3-date rule? Do you have like a 30-day rule? Do you have a, was it like somebody asked me the other day, like the Steve Harvey, like the 90-day rule? Like,
90 day.
do you wait till a title? Do you wait till you are officially in a relationship? Do you wait until marriage?
Mm-hmm. I mean, are you asking for me personally or what my
Yeah,
thoughts
I'm
are?
asking you. I'm asking you. Putting you on the
You're
spot
putting
like
me on
that.
the hot seat.
Yeah, yeah, hell yeah.
Um, I believe, okay, so definitely not the first date. That's a given. Definitely,
Okay.
I've been married, I've been divorced, I got 2 kids. I'm not waiting for marriage again. So that's my own rule. I think it's definitely when you feel comfortable. For me, 3 dates is way too soon, but I can't say it has to be the month, 2 months, 3 months. I think it's every person that you are with. It's how comfortable you feel with that person. And if you want to, go ahead, because to me, intimacy is not sex. you know, yes, intimacy is part of this, meaning like I can differentiate what intimacy is, you know, and the closeness, the touch, the talk, the share, the thoughts, the getting deeper with each other. And then sex, yes, is along with intimacy. And that's already built up to that when you feel comfortable and you have that sense of vulnerability of being with that person. So I think to me, it's, you know, how you just feel good with that person, if you feel comfortable enough with that person. But I never put a time frame, with the exception of definitely not 1 date, definitely not 3. And it's going to be a little bit longer because I take a while to open up and feel comfortable.
Do you see the distinction, or do you like make a distinction between specifically like in the bedroom having sex versus you just, you know, saying goodnight to each other and have that long kiss at the end of the date? Is there a difference between those things, or do you treat them the same way? Like, is there a level that you have to feel comfort with a man when you're dating to feel, I'm like, oh, I'm comfortable enough for like a kiss or maybe like a little makeout session. Maybe I'm comfortable with certain fooling around activities, but I'm not yet comfortable for sex, like that traditional.
The traditional penetration kind of sex.
Right, right.
Yeah, no, I think definitely it is a comfortable level for me, and where I'm starting to feel the feelings and the comfort and the vulnerability with the person that I'm with.
Okay, so there's a different comfort level. There's like stages. So like you feel like,
For
oh, I'm
me,
at the stage
yeah, I
where
gotta
we
build
can.
up. I can't be like whoosh.
Okay,
And
I got
go
you.
all in. Yeah, yeah. There's definitely a build up for me. Yes.
Okay, I think a
Yeah.
lot of people in the comments are kind of saying the same thing. So we're talking about like feeling comfortable, right? I feel this word like coming back in like literally almost every comment, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Comfort, comfort, comfort,
Safety.
comfort.
Someone saying safe. Definitely have to feel
Safe,
safe with
right?
that person.
I feel like it kind of, you know, maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm misinterpreting what the person was trying to say, but I kind of feel like it's like kind of the same thing. When I
Yeah.
trust the other person, right? And
Yes.
that kind of leads me over to like my next question to you guys, and you including, like, why? Why are you waiting? Do you know what I mean? Like, why are you waiting for physical intimacy? Like, what you're saying to yourself, if you're waiting, there's like a reason, right? You're saying to yourself, if I do it now, then something that I don't want to happen will happen. So what is that thing?
I mean, for me personally, I want the viewers, I mean, the followers here and the viewers to answer also, to give us
Yeah, yeah,
what
absolutely.
they
No,
feel also.
I'm asking this way. You know,
I want them to
I
engage.
just
Don't
want
put
a
me in
little
the
bit.
hot seat, guys. So, I mean, it's just, to me, is the level of comfort of me putting my walls down and being vulnerable with that person.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, you know, the level of, okay, I'm gonna be able to trust this person. So, have I been
So,
mistaken in the past? Absolutely, but that's part of dating, isn't it?
right. So when we say trust the person, and this kind of like my style a little bit, like I like to ask questions and kind of bring you to, you
Yeah.
know, a certain, instead of just like feeding you the stuff that I kind of want you to understand. But
Yeah.
the reason why you're waiting, right? Because you're waiting, and there's like usually like these two kind of things, right? On the one hand, we're waiting, and let me know, ladies, who are watching this right now, are you maybe waiting because you don't want them, you don't want him to like see you in a certain way, or you know what I mean? Like maybe because there's like this unwritten rule kind of says like, oh, if it happens too early, it's not going to take you seriously. Is this why you are waiting?
For me
Or are you
personally, no.
waiting when people say we feel comfortable? Is it
Yeah.
because are you afraid maybe that it's, you know, it's like you don't trust him physically, that maybe he will, you know, maybe there's this aggression or violence or any, which are really good, you know, concerns to have as well. But is this what we're, so I just want you to understand that there should be a reason behind why are we waiting. And the more clear you are on what that reason is for you specifically, the more clear you will be on understanding how long should you wait. So instead of just focusing, right? A lot of people kind of feel, well, you know, whatever, it feels good, whatever. So when we talk about feels good, we're talking about like hormonal reactions to the person, right? So we're talking about what, chemistry? So are we talking about basically our bodies, you know, need to survive by procreation? So if we feel aroused, if we maybe have a little couple of sips of alcohol in our blood, maybe like, you know, it's late at night and we kind of like, oh, what the hell, let it happen. So is this the naturally, or are you waiting to see certain specific things that are then going to tell you, hey, you are ready, you are now comfortable to do this?
Yeah, I think for me, I mean, it's just inside me, what, you know, how I feel about that person, if I want to get that vulnerable and on that level with them, you know, because you know, I think any woman, no matter what, any night of the week you want it, you can go out and you can find it. Very easy. Just like there's men that can do that as well. You know, so if it's a matter of being, oh my God, I'm a little hot right now and I just want to get it, easy. But that's, for me, that's not something that I do. So I think it has to be, for me, I mean, I think we talked about this before. To me, it's an exchange of energy with that person.
Right.
And so, you know, do I want that person's energy with me? Am I comfortable enough to allow them to touch my body and be with me at that point? And it has to be about me, how I'm feeling. So, and, you know, for men, listen, men, I think someone just said it, men have sex on their mind 24 hours a day. So
I don't necessarily think and agree with that specifically. I don't think I'll be able to do anything I want to do if I just like, you know, thought about sex all day long. But okay, so I just want to get back to, we're doing it for a specific reason, and I'll tell you what I'll kind of share with you what I think, you know, that reason should be, right? I don't think that reason should be in any way related to what the other person might think or do, right? I'm not doing it or not doing it because I am either afraid or I want them to see me a certain way or not see me a certain way. To be honest with you, I don't give a shit about that. Right? Yeah. I'm not concerning myself with how they see me. The reason why I am or I'm not engaging in physical intimacy, and I'm going to say it again, you know, when I say physical intimacy, I don't just mean the act of penetration, right? I do mean fooling around. I do mean sitting in the car, making out for, and the reason why it's all part of the same category is because your brain does not really know the difference, right? As you're sitting down in a car and you're making out for 2 hours, right? What you're doing, like both men and women are going to start releasing certain hormones as these things are happening, right? Women are going to release a lot of oxytocin. Men are going to release primarily dopamine, right? But that oxytocin that you're going to release as a woman is, I'm sure you know a little bit about like what that whole is. I don't want to make it too biological, right? But oxytocin is essentially the bonding hormone. It's that same stuff that you release as a woman when you start breastfeeding your newborn, right? It's supposed to create that bond, that unconditional bond where you are, you know, and it's there for a reason. It's there to help us create families and communities and protect children and all of that stuff, right? So when you're going to start doing these things, your brain is not going to know the difference between sleeping with a guy or just sitting down in a car making out, or maybe fooling around, whatever that entails, whether that's oral sex or like, you know, any other way, but not specifically penetration. So I just want you to englobe that all in the same activities, right? So like, oh, we just made out for a little while, or we just did, you know, a couple of things. We didn't really, it's the same thing. So the reason why you're not doing it too early, again, it's not because you are thinking about what they might think about you. Oh, she's, you know, easy because she slept with me too. I don't care about that. And to be honest with you, most men won't even look at it that way necessarily. Yes, maybe if it happens way too quickly. You know what I mean? Like just too easy, right? If easy come, easy go type of thing. But if you wait a little while, you know, I don't think that men will make a distinction whether it's like a month or 30 days or 90 days. All of these specific rules, I don't think matter. But when it becomes important is because you need to establish certain things for yourself about the other person and about the relationship, whether that there is compatibility and whether or not they want the same stuff that you want, right? Whether or not you have similar values, similar beliefs, right? That's the whole idea of compatibility. To make sure that you are kind of going into, and you have a common goal and you're trying to accomplish the same thing before you engage in physical intimacy. Now, why? It's because as soon as you're going to start engaging in physical activities, your brain is going to start releasing that, you know, these bonding hormones that are going to create prematurely that bond, that attachment with another person, right? So now if you haven't taken the time to really get to know them, really making sure that you guys are on the same path and want the same things, right? If that relationship breaks up, you're going to start feeling a certain way, right? Because like you're now breaking that biological, that hormonal bond that your body has been creating over the past few weeks as you were engaging in physical, months as you were engaging in that physical intimacy. It's going to make it a lot more difficult on you to be able to detach, to walk away. At the same time, if we see that they don't really align, right, our analytical side is going to see that we don't really align, but our biological side are going to be like, just blind yourself to that. Just, you know, the red flag, well, listen, it's not that bad. I can live with that. He's still friends with his ex. It's probably nothing anyway. She still lives with him. Oh, listen, I mean, everything happened. You're going to start creating these excuses just in order to justify what your biology is really trying to accomplish, is to create and solidify that bond. And the more intimacy you're going to be engaging with him, the more that bond is going to be strong.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think someone here said it doesn't matter. It was someone back. It doesn't matter. They leave anyways. Listen, if you've created that bond, and let's say you waited 2 months or 3 months with the guy, and he walks away right after, you don't want that guy anyways. That's not the guy for you. If that's that's what he was waiting for, then you don't want that. So, and I think women do create why if something like that happens, women, it's harder for women to let go because we're more emotional, and so we attach ourselves a little bit more, which is what you said. We start if it's too soon, we don't see those red flags. Oh, it's his girlfriend, it's okay, his ex-girlfriend, we start making excuses and the rose-colored glasses. Listen, I'm guilty of that. So
but and it's not just, I don't necessarily like more emotional or less emotional. If you just look at it very simply, like I said, it's like it's just very different in terms of like from a biological perspective. It's just very different when we start dating and you start dating someone new. Like the biology, right? The hormonal responses that you're going to have towards that person, whether you're a man or a woman, are going to be a tiny bit different, right? Like as I said, like the man is going to release a lot. Like it's a cocktail of hormones. Like as you start engaging. Right, you're holding hands for the first time, you kiss for the first time, you sit down and you wake out for an hour or so while you're watching, a movie, or you have sex, right? Like there's going to be a cocktail of hormones that are going to be happening in your brain. But for the most part, on the man's side, it's going to be a lot of that of dopamine, right?
Yes.
That same stuff that we feel when we eat a very delicious meal, for example. Like we want this to happen again. We're high on that experience, right? But we are not creating that long-term bond as much as women do once they get into that physical intimacy, right? So it's important to understand that the reason why you are waiting, right? It's not because, I don't want him to like see me as this, easy person, easy girl. If it happens too quickly, I don't really care about that. What I would care about is, hey, have I established analytically, have I taken the time to make sure that we have similar goals, similar values, similar beliefs, that we're trying to accomplish the same thing that I want and whatever. Hey, by the way, you can want whatever the hell you want to want. Right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Your boundaries when it comes to that are going to be different depending on what you're trying to accomplish, right? If you're trying to accomplish a relationship, it takes a little bit of time to make sure that we want the same stuff. If you've been in a marriage for 20 years, and this is like what a lot of my clients, they come to me and like after a couple of conversations, we figure that out. Hey, I've been in a marriage for 20 years, 8 of them were sexless. Honestly, yes, all my friends are telling me that I need to be in a relationship. Society tells me I need to be in a relationship because I'm a woman in my 40s or whatever. I need to be with a man, right? But the reason why you're as you're coming out of that relationship, you come to realize that, hey, you know what? That's not what I want. What I want is to experiment with my sexuality a little bit. I want to come out but you're going out there with that very specific goal, and your boundaries are going to be different, right? Based on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. How long you're going to take is also going to change, depending on how long that's going to, right? So if you're on vacation and you just want to have fun, hey, that's cool. You only live once. There's no guidebook. There's no rule book. You can do whatever whatever you want to do. But you need to be aware of like if you are waiting, why are you waiting?
Yes. Yeah. And I think it comes down to, your personal boundaries and what feels right to you, So, I'm trying to like read some of these things that they're saying, we're like a new car. Don't rub your miles. I don't know what that means. Don't rub your miles thin for a relationship that's not for you. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So it comes down to your personal boundaries, definitely. So, and no matter what, there's going to be that, if you give it up too soon, the guy's not going to take you seriously. Listen, you can give it up to the guy 3 months later, 4 months later, whatever your rule is, and they could still walk away. So it's about the connection and your personal boundaries that you have to feel for yourself.
Yeah, again, yes. Like if you're at the point where you feel like, hey, it happens today and they're going to like walk out the next day potentially, and you're going to feel heartbroken about that, then you're not ready yet. Then you're not at the point where if you're still playing the guessing game, it's like, oh, I don't know if he's going to stick around, he's going to spend the night or not, because I don't even know if we're on the same page yet, and whether or not we want the same things. Is this just a physical type of fling, right? Or is this a relationship? If you're at the point where you can't answer these questions yet, you're not ready for physical intimacy. Now, if you're afraid, right, and a lot of women tell me that, right? A lot of my clients tell me that. They're like, well, but I'm afraid that if I don't sleep with him, if I don't kiss him, if I don't do all of these, like fool around with him, that he's going to lose interest, right? That he's just going to leave because he's not going to wait.
For me, no. For me, that's, I don't care what he's thinking. It's about my comfort level. If he wants to walk away because I'm not giving it up, or because I'm not kissing him, or because I'm not getting intimate, or I'm not having sex with him, I'll hold the door open for him. He can go ahead and walk out that door. It's all about me at the end of the day. And how
Right. So yeah, and what I wanted to say, like that is like, not just as a dating coach, but as a man, I'm going to tell you that that's not the case. You know, if again, all depends on whether or not like what we want aligns or doesn't align.
Yes.
If I am looking for a hookup, right? Again, I'm definitely not going to wait that long, right?
Yeah.
If I am looking for a relationship, however, this is music to my ears, right? This is what's the equivalent of music to your ears but to your eyes? You know what I mean? Like, this is great. I want to see that. Like, I want to see that you have certain boundaries, that you respect yourself and love yourself and your body and your time and your energy, right? Like you said, it's an exchange of energies. If you start telling me these things, like, you know what, I'm loving to hear that if I'm looking for the same stuff you're looking for, right? So again, yes, if he loses, you know, that's kind of like, to me, that I always say that it's kind of the whole point. If he loses interest in you, or he stops calling you, or he starts putting in effort as soon as you set a certain boundary around that, you know, that's not like that's not a bad outcome. That's kind of like the whole point. That's why you are setting these boundaries in the first place.
Yes, yeah. The ones that are meant to fall away, that are not for you. So,
right.
Yeah, and that's all about boundaries, which is absolutely, that's what it is. So, you know, I want to tell people, running out of time here, and I told you these 30 minutes were going to feel like 5 minutes because you've given us some really great information here. You have a course going on, correct?
So my course is not currently available. I'll launch my course a couple of times a year, so it's going to come out sometime in the fall. It is an intense course. It's a 4-week intensive. So I don't usually launch it in midsummer because I know a lot of people have a lot of other things to do. They go out, they date, they all come with all these experiences, and they come back to the course sometime in the fall. But what I do have right now, I am running, and this is probably the best value that you can get from like my entire channels and everything that I offer. I do have a membership community. So I do have, it's called the Lioness a membership community. We basically meet on a monthly basis. Every month we sit down. It's a 90-minute conversation that we do live on Zoom, and we talk about the most difficult, the most asked about dating topics. There's also a Q&A period where you can come up with your specific situation, and it's available in my bio. It's only $27 a month as of right now, before the prices go up. So that's something that everybody that watches this, whether come from you or from me, like, check it out if you haven't already.
Definitely. And so they can interact with you on this Zoom call, in this group Zoom
call,
interact and actually ask their questions. So that's actually fantastic. And you coach both men and women.
Yes.
Okay, so both.
My channels are predominantly female. So if you look at my content, a lot of it is kind of made for women. But my stuff is always coming out from a place of just taking accountability for our own, which apply as much to women as they are to men. So I don't believe in like the tips and tricks type of approach that are specific to men or specific to women. I think a lot of that stuff is just the work that we do in ourselves. It's exactly the same, whether I'm doing it or you doing it.
Absolutely, definitely. And okay, so besides IG, where can everyone find you?
They can find me at Dating by Lion everywhere else. They can find me on YouTube. They can find me on TikTok. And like I said, check out my website. Everything is linked in my bio with all my links and all the information and the stuff that I offer right now.
All right. So guys, definitely, I mean, our time is up here. I want to thank you, Lion, so much because you're always awesome. You always give those bombs. I'll read it. I'll be like, damn, he's right again. So, always on point. I'm so happy that you joined this dating.
Likewise. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Yes. And next week, guys, we are coming on. So next week is going to be Wednesday. I believe it is the 27th, if I'm not mistaken. I will post it up on my IG, but I'm going to have dating and love coach Emily Freeman, and she is the only female that I'm having out of the coaches in this series. So definitely, ladies, you want to join in. She does do predominantly men, but men want to join in as well. But we're going to be talking about both sexes, and we're going to come up with something juicy for you guys. So definitely join me. I will be posting that up. Again, Lion, thank you so much. Everyone, go follow him, TikTok, Instagram. Go on his website and get on that Zoom call and get that course in fall. Thank you so much, Lion.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate your time. Thank you.